Caroline B, KTN News.
Now let's talk about engineering in Kenya, the role of engineering when it comes to the Big Four agenda of the Jubilee administration, and also the burden that women engineers face in the country, owing to the fact that in a few days Kenya shall be hosting a conference of engineers in the country. To have this discussion with us in a studio, we have Linda Radilo, who's the CEO of Institute of Engineers of Kenya. She is seated on my immediate left. Seated next to Linda is none other than Eric, and Eric is... Seated next to Linda is Eric, and this morning we want to talk about matters engineering in our country. Let's start with you, Eric. The role of engineering when it comes to the Big Four agenda, because we talk about the Big Four agenda, people just know food, security, housing, but engineering is left behind.
Thank you so much. What we want to talk about the role of engineers in the Big Four agenda. Actually, we know the Big Four agenda talks about the manufacturing bit, and the role of engineers in the manufacturing bit is so much important. When you talk about the universal care, universal care requires the role of engineer because the equipment that are used in that particular health centers are actually manufactured, designed by these particular engineers. When you talk about food, irrigation schemes, those are all aspects of engineering so that we're able to make this a success.
So engineering is like part and parcel of our everyday life?
Everyday life actually is about engineering. Making the society have quality life, the engineer makes sure that actually happens. Thank you.
So Linda, as we talk about, engineering with the Big Four agenda, is there need, for the government to involve engineers in this country? Because now it looks like, engineering is actually part and parcel of our everyday life.
There is, engineers play a vital role in the Big Four agenda in the sense that there are four in number. The first one is manufacturing, which produces like raw waste. Engineers come in the sense that we design the solid waste systems that manage the environment. And then we also come in, like Engineer Ohaga said, under universal healthcare. We are the ones who provide electricity for the ICUs. We also provide the housing for the hospitals, that is. Then in the other one is the food security, whereby we come in under design of irrigation systems, and also under affordable housing, whereby the government wants to construct like 500,000 affordable houses. Our role there can't be overemphasized.
Because you have the electric engineers, you have the construction engineers.
Yes. We are everywhere.
You're everywhere. You can't be
mechanical.
ignored.
We can't be ignored
in
all that. Yes.
And let's talk about the role of women, in engineering. And very few women, you would hear, I'm taking an engineering course, and someone would be like, you'd be so surprised. And the breakdown, what I have here is that at least, in Kenya, you have so far 6,444 members. And of this, only 7% are women. That is around 336 members who are women in engineering. And I mean, you talking about engineering, it means you have that training, the background in engineering. So what made you, have that passion of, I need to do engineering?
Actually, the problem there, like the perception itself. It's what discourages women from even taking up. Otherwise, the barriers that I had to face to get into this profession included lack of mentorship, because as you can see, there are only 7%. That 7%, you can only meet one engineer, maybe in 1,000 women. And then the other one is the misunderstood motherhood. The fact that when you choose to start a family, people misconstrue that as if you're leaving your career. And then we have the other one, whereby the lack of mentorship I've talked about. And then we have the misconception, like I talked about, the biasness, and also the income inequality in all the professions.
All right, and in engineering, you've heard what Linda has said, but as someone who's within the engineering field, these stereotypes that we have about women in engineering, and I'm sure probably you've experienced this probably when you're working with your male colleagues, they need you to do something, they're like, just leave that one, we'll do. Yeah.
Okay, I think for engineers, we have been with them since university. And for sure, I can say that the female engineers are equal to the task, right from the university, because we've been with them and they've seen them perform very well. And even get into the job market, the engineers work just like any other male engineers. And for the issue of mentorship, in many companies, because we know that the number of female engineers are rather small, and therefore the mentorship is normally geared towards these particular female engineers so that they can take up the responsibilities that are available in these organizations to the highest level. And in terms of performance, we've seen, even compared to the male engineers, female engineers have always stand out.
They're always
They're standing out, actually.
All right.
Yes.
And you know, as much as we talk about engineering in the country, women engineers in the country, the male engineers in the country, there's always been a concern in terms of registration of engineers in the country, because so many people have done this course, but when it comes to registration, some of them are not even registered. They don't even know whether they need to be registered. Linda?
Oh, that one. We offer trainings through professional interview programs and the IEK, whereby we invite all the graduate engineers to sensitize them on the need to register, and also all the requirements are usually given at that stage. Yes.
All right. Okay, let me just, before I get your mind, Engineer Eric, let me just take a short commercial break here on KTN News Center. It is exactly 10:27 a.m., but when we come back, we shall continue having this discussion about engineering in the country, the upcoming conference, and what engineers need to learn when it comes to the Big Four agenda, how the government can actually integrate them into the Big Four agenda.